We begin by understanding clearly what the support activity is about. Product operation and service delivery are seldom incident-free, in spite of the best efforts that go into the other activities prior to support. And that is because technology solutions can fail and processes can also fail and other external services and products can fail. Sometimes these failures result in minor incidents, but sometimes disasters. In case of minor incidents, the impact is limited, which is not a big issue usually, but in case of disasters, it can threaten the continuity of business operations. Therefore, it is important to address all these types of incidents, even if it is minor, and the extreme disasters as well. In fact, they should be predicted, prevented from occurring, detected, mitigated, resolved, analyzed, and prevented from recurring as well. Therefore, that is why we also have problem management coming in to prevent recurrence and even to prevent an incident from occurring. So, which of these actions they will perform that the organization will be focusing on depends on the anticipated impact and actual impact of the incident and disaster, as well as other factors. Let's look at some ITIL terminologies such as incident, major incident, and disaster. An incident, as you know, it's an unplanned interruption to a service or a reduction in the quality of a service. So it is not necessary that it is a user who always reports. It can be detected automatically through the monitoring systems or through other health checks by a practitioner of the services and before the user notices it. A major incident is an incident that has significant business impact requiring immediate coordinated resolution, which means there is a very high likelihood that instead of serial escalation to one team to another, it'll be more swarming approach where multiple specialist representatives convene together to understand what can be done. And major incidents also have a slightly different process to handle them and even different service level agreement or service level requirements as part of the service level agreement. Disaster is a sudden unplanned event that causes great damage or serious loss to an organization. Disaster results in an organization failing to provide critical business functions for some predetermined minimum period of time. So an example major incident could be that a certain site is down or a certain number of users have been impacted. There is a lot of or a loss of connectivity in a certain network link, which is a critical link. But disaster, any of these could also be a disaster provided it matches the criteria for a disaster, which means that the event must match certain business impact criteria predefined by the organization for both disaster as well as major incidents. Now, the typical disaster examples could be like cyber attacks, electrical outage, natural disasters, availability of a large number of personnel, data center outage, which is like a large scale IT infrastructure availability, or it can also be a strategic partnership failure between the organization and their third party. So disaster recovery focuses on coming back to normal based on a predefined plan. Therefore, we also have the business continuity management, which predefines the scenarios for outages, incidents, and disasters, and pre-plans for operational continuity, starting with business critical services or functions. Now, further to the support activity, we have seen that the main focus here is to minimize impact of incidents and disasters when they occur, but it also includes the investigation of incidents and identification of errors in products or work processes, also known as problems. And therefore, problem management practice also comes in, not just incident management or IT service continuity management. So error is a flaw or vulnerability that may cause incidents. An example of an error could be a flaw in the database management being done by an application. A problem is a cause or potential cause of one or more incidents. Therefore, the error or the flaw creates a sort of cause or the problem. So the vulnerability results in some kind of a cause. So which means that during the analysis, it will be known what the actual cause is. So it's possible, for example, that a certain application that is using a database, the database might have some problem, some sort of corruption or some storage issue or whatever. And that is a flaw. And because of that, it can cause an incident. Therefore, the cause will be more clearly analyzed to determine, for example, there was a corruption in the database, which is very similar to the error, but then it will determine the reason for the error. So why it happened. And a known error is a problem that has been analyzed but not been resolved yet. There might have been a quick fix or a workaround, but it is not resolved yet. So there will be some documentation for the analysis that would have helped in creating a workaround but then the improvement for the workaround will continue backstage until a proper resolution is obtained, if practically possible. These are the key facts about the support activity in brief. So the support activity is mainly, as we know, to identify and resolve incidents, to fulfill disaster recovery procedures and capture consumer feedback. And typically, there will be involvement from product teams, the site reliability engineer teams, IT operations, user support, service desk, and other specialized teams as and when needed. And this will be performed whenever incidents or disasters are detected or reported. And the key outputs will be the restored normal service operation and service delivery. The way to measure the success of this activity are the following: customer and user satisfaction with service support, speed of normal service restoration, negative impact of incidents and disasters on organization and customers, support performance agreed, uh, SLA targets based, and product performance objectives. So that means based on the agreed SLA targets, how was the support performance? And adherence to the product and service strategy and other relevant guidelines. So the teams that perform this activity return the abnormal service to a normal state as quickly as possible and as professionally as possible also. And so that the support is provided to users, consumers, customers, and the organization throughout to experience minimal disruption. And incidents and disasters may occur due to operational events, user-facing product and service breakdowns, failing integrations with provider or customer systems, poorly managed changes, and so on. Therefore, the activity is mainly reactive, but there is also value created during support. And such as the action taken by the organization in response to feedback that will facilitate continual improvement, which plays a critical role in preserving business value, informing product and service improvements, supporting resilience throughout the product and service life cycle, and enabling the ongoing co-creation of value. So therefore, once again, this activity ensures restoration of normal service operation. In fact, it should be done before incidents have much bigger impact on the service users. So the sooner it is done, the better. Then this is ensured by monitoring and early detection of trends and events. And when it is not possible this way, and users experience service degradation or outage, then support will prioritize the restoration of an acceptable level of service for users. And after this level is restored, usually with a workaround, support will continue to restore normal operation and agreed level of service.